Hey friends, Ash here. Hope you're doing well. Sorry, I had to escape from the clutches of the Sephora sales associates. They were trying to pitch me on the new Sauvage, and I barely made it out. But let's forget about that for now. Today we're talking about fragrances that you guys say are absolutely crazy addictive, that you wear all year long, doesn't matter the season. The best of the best, ones that are absolutely too good to stop wearing. A shout out to every single one of you guys that left your answer. The question was popped up on the community tab of the YouTube channel. Feel free to check that out because there's probably a new question where you can leave your fragrance choice and be featured in a future video. Woo! It's a close call. Let's get started with the first fragrance, which comes to us from Carlo D803, who says, Versace Pour Homme is my dumb reach, especially if I don't want to think about what to pair with what I wear whenever I go out. A quick trip to the grocery, meeting up with friends, formal occasions, a date, it just works. And yeah, man, Versace Pour Homme, that's a great choice because this is a fragrance that in the past I used as a dumb reach, especially if I didn't want to think about what to pair with what I wear whenever I go out. Love the fragrance though, really clean, fresh, easy to wear, the type of scent that realistically, even though it is more of a spring summer scent for most people, you can pull off during winter, just blast it on heavier, who cares? Or if you're gonna be somewhere that's air conditioned, then honestly, it doesn't really matter what temperature it is outside, right? It's gonna be the same temperature pretty much all year, in which case, Versace Pour Homme again. A little bit similar to Allure Homme Sport or Missoni Wave, but out of the three, if you're just looking for the absolute freshest, cleanest one of the bunch and you don't want as much of like a creamy, sweet undertone to it, Versace Pour Homme is the one to get. And also another good thing about this one, from discounters, pretty cheap. Always like that. The next fragrance comes to us from Go for Mo, who says, Givenchy Gentleman Society. It has become one of the very few fragrances that I don't swap out of my go-to fragrance drawer season to season. About the only time I don't put it on is summertime when I'm heading straight out into extreme heat. Every other time of year, day or night, warm or cool, it's absolutely perfect. And yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense because if you are going somewhere like middle of summer, especially if it's really humid, and you're gonna be outside the whole time, then going for something that's fresher, like maybe Versace Pour Homme over here, would be a better choice. And it's not that Gentleman Society is crazy heavy or overly sweet or anything like that, but definitely leans a little bit more toward that like fall, winter time type of scent profile more so than it does middle of summer. So in terms of notes, this one has vetiver, narcissus, cardamom, sage, and vanilla, as well as woody notes. And as you would expect from a fragrance with the name of Gentleman, it is more of a classy fragrance, but it has a nice sexy sweetness to it as well. But it's not so formal and dressed up and elegant that you couldn't also wear it just as a casual day-to-day fragrance as well. So it's a really good choice actually for a fragrance that you could wear whenever you want. You can absolutely wear it to more formal occasions, but it's gonna work casually also. And while it's pretty well known, it's not so well known that you're gonna smell like everybody else out there, so it gives you something a little more unique too. It'd be a good signature scent. Next fragrance comes to us from Mark Cafe Brown 2883, who keeps it very simple and says Sauvage EDP, which actually got a lot of love. Multiple people mentioned Sauvage Eau de Parfum, and it makes sense because Dior Sauvage is the most popular men's fragrance line in the world. And so obviously with that, we are talking about a fragrance that people are gonna be wearing all year round. So yeah. So Sauvage Eau de Parfum obviously falls right in between the Eau de Toilette and the Parfum. And for a lot of people, that's gonna make it the Goldilocks fragrance because it's gonna have a lot of the same things going on as the Eau de Toilette, but not quite as in your face, not quite as aggressive. It doesn't have as much of a metallic feel to it. It has more of a vanillic sweetness. It's a little bit smoother, richer, ever so slightly more grown up in comparison to the Eau de Toilette. And I would say for my own personal taste, I like the Eau de Parfum a little bit more than the Parfum version of Sauvage. I think it has great versatility and wearability, so if you're looking for a compliment puller that lasts a long time, that projects extremely well, this is gonna be one of the better things out there that ticks off all those boxes. Now, of course, if you wanna have something more unique, then probably you don't wanna be looking at Dior Sauvage. But if you don't care too much about standing out and having a more unique scent, Sauvage Eau de Parfum does it all. The next fragrance comes to us from T-Job 92. Not sure what that stands for. I guess T-Job, though, does sound better than B-Job. He says, Polo 67 has gotten me so many compliments, it's my go-to this year. Yeah, this is one I like a lot. Polo 67, great versatility, and they put something in there. It's really addictive. Because this is a fragrance that when I first tried it this year, I was, whelmed. Not over, not under, just, whelmed. And that's how you have to say it. Whelmed. And yet, as I wore the fragrance more throughout the year, I liked it more and more and more, to the point that it was one of my favorite releases this year. It's not crazy expensive. It's not crazy complex, but it gets the job done. And with this type of fragrance, that's what I want. It's fresh, it's clean, it has a nice, sweet, fruity opening that people love. And as it dries down, it maintains that versatility and that compliment factor the whole way through. It has some similarities to YSL's Myself, which is not necessarily a bad thing because that's another fragrance that people love that you can wear whenever you want. And it's just like a guilty pleasure, simple fragrance that I love to smell and wear. And other people love to smell it too, which is kind of what this is all about. So Polo 67, great release, great choice. And it's one that, yes, even though it's again more of a spring, summertime fragrance, I will wear it this winter. Before we hop to the next fragrance, guys, here's some codes you can use to save money across different websites. The JOMASHOP codes only work within the app, so be aware of that. You have to download the app to use the codes, but frankly, the app looks the exact same as their website. And then there are other codes as well for Max Aroma, the Perfume Box, Fragflex, and more. Next fragrance comes to us from Daniel Wright 7898, who says, I've been wearing green Irish tweed all year round this year, regardless of the weather. And I've had just as many compliments on 30-degree days as 100-degree days and everything in between. It just works. Now you're talking to my soul here. Green Irish tweed? Yes, sir. This is killer. And Daniel makes a good point here. He's got just as many compliments on 30-degree days as 100-degree days and everything in between. When it comes to fragrances, yes, there are gonna be seasons that they gravitate more toward being used in, right? You can smell green Irish tweed, for example, and you can tell like, oh, that smells like a spring fragrance, right? It's green, it's fresh, it's lively, it's brisk, and it reminds you of spring when everything is opening back up, the flowers, your lawn is turning green again, the trees are turning green again. You're like, oh yeah, it's what it reminds me of. But you can still wear it in fall. You can still wear it in spring. Maybe you want to adjust the sprays according to what you're doing. And going back to talking about gentleman's society, in the middle of summer, maybe there are situations where something else would work better. But especially when it comes to fresh fragrances, if you're gonna be doing something that's air conditioned, you can wear it. It doesn't matter. It's gonna be basically the same as during spring or fall. And even if it's really cold, fresh fragrances sometimes in the cold actually smell better. They might not project as heavily as like a really warm, deep, heavy fragrance that we generally think of as being a wintertime scent, but they can still smell amazing in the cold. And green Irish tweed, that's one that I would wear year round and have. Garrett Mercier, 9186, if I pronounced that wrong, I'm sorry. He says, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Paradise Garden, the fruity fig and coconut is perfect for both summer and winter because of that mint that freshens it up. Just an absolute banger, man. I even did a single spray under the shirt before the gym, and it was just right. Can't go wrong. Yep, this is another one that I like a bunch. Really big fan of the LeBeau line at this point. Apparently they got a new one coming out called Flower Edition. Now, as of right this minute, as of when I'm shooting this video, that one doesn't have any notes or anything out, just pictures of the bottle have started floating around and the name and everything. That being said, it's entirely possible that that fragrance gets announced and I release a video talking about it before this video goes live, so who knows. But yeah, apparently they got a new one coming out before too terribly long. Back to this though, LeBeau, big fan. The Eau de Toilette, Le Parfum, Paradise Garden, all three. And this is another one that's generally thought of as more of a spring, summertime fragrance, but as Garrett talks about, it's got this nice fruity fig and coconut. This sweetness that it has actually translates really well to wintertime because it has like a creamy facet to it. And it's got decent staying power as well. And I just mentioned talking about certain fresh fragrances smelling better during winter. One of the notes that comes across generally really well in winter is mint. that he mentions here. And that's because it takes on even more of this like fresh, zingy bite when you have mint in a fragrance. So something like this that's gonna have that briskness off the top, but then a creamier sweetness underneath can work extremely well when it's cold out. And it just smells good in general. Then we've got one from Christian Farago, 3915. Again, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Can never go wrong with Prada L'Homme. Prada L'Homme, that is a good choice, I gotta say, and it's even better if you have Prada L'Homme and also Prada L'Homme Intense. I know it's not technically, you know, the same fragrance that you'd be wearing all year round, but it's close enough. And you know what, if you really wanna get crazy, get Prada L'Homme Low and Prada L'Homme Intense. And then what you do is during spring and fall, wear Prada L'Homme. During summer, Prada L'Homme Low. During winter, Prada L'Homme Intense. And then you can really rock Prada L'Homme all year round and smell absolutely amazing. Assuming that amazing to you is kind of a soapy, clean, classy, elegant iris fragrance, because that's what this is. Prada L'Homme Intense is probably my favorite if I had to pick just one, but the original Prada L'Homme, I'd say, is the most versatile of the bunch. And that's because it's not quite as aquatic and light and fresh as Low is, but it doesn't have that leather that adds a bit more of a boldness to it that the Intense version has. This one keeps things right down the middle. Yes, like I said, elegant, clean, soapy, a little bit sweet as well, touch powdery, but smells absolutely divine. And it's one of those fragrances that kind of elevates your entire outfit. It takes everything up a notch. It is the perfect fragrance to get people to understand what Prada generally puts across. Some people would argue that and say, no, go like Prada Amber Pour Homme or one of the older infusion fragrances or something like that. But if we're talking like a contemporary Prada fragrance, Prada L'Homme. Why, known as Big Brown Dragon 6121, how are you doing? They say Terre d'Hermès Eau de Toilette is downright addictive all year long. Terre d'Hermès, to me, an absolute classic, a modern classic, modern masterpiece, whatever you want to call it. Really, really good, especially if you like vetiver, which I do. That being said, it can be a little bit divisive because some people, oh, mine's droopy. Did you see that? Look. Oh, droopy wieners. It's a reference to Shaky Graves. If anybody out there gets that, good on you. But yeah, Terre d'Hermès, back to that, can be a little divisive. And that's because that fragrance has like a flintiness to it, an earthy aspect to it, and also vetiver in general can be a note that people shy away from sometimes, especially younger guys who don't want something that's very woodsy forward, because vetiver can definitely come across that way. Terre d'Hermès, ultra addictive to me though. Like I could smell this a week straight, not get remotely tired of it, just wear it a week straight, who cares? Fantastic. And yeah, year round, easy, easy. And kind of what I was talking about before with Prada, if you really like Terre d'Hermès, then you can get the Eau Intense Vetiver, you can get Eau Givre, you used to be able to get Eau Très Fraîche. So you can get yourself a Terre d'Hermès that works for each time of year, like a little more specialized if you wanted to. And there's also a parfum iteration of just straight up Terre d'Hermès if you wanted. So there's the Eau de Toilette and a pure parfum. Niki222, again, sorry if I messed that up. Armani Code Le Parfum. It's just so nice and fresh, yet it still works on the colder winter days. As a close second, I like the Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privé. Real sweet and warm scent. Since you said the Armani first, that's the one that I got right here. And as mentioned, yes, it is fresh and nice, and it also works during colder winter days. And I've mentioned this a number of times, but when this first came out, it kind of surprised me. And that's because I was expecting it to be heavier, darker than it actually is. It's really fresh off the top. When you first spray this on, it's clean, it's fresh, it's easy to wear. It does not smell like a middle of winter time fragrance when you spray it on. It's like, oh, you can wear that kind of just whenever, huh? I mean, it's got a nice sweetness to it. It's clean, it's classy, but it is really fresh. Now, as it dries down, it does warm up a bit, does get a little bit darker, but it's never like a full-on dead of winter type fragrance where you go, oh, I can only wear this when it's cold out during the evening. It's not that type of scent. So in terms of notes, it has iris in here in the mid, Also some aldehydes, clary sage. Off the top, you have bergamot, and then in the base, tonka and cedar. And it does come across like an almost fresher, more elegant, sophisticated, higher end version of the original Armani code. It has really nice staying power. Projection is a little bit more moderate, but for this type of fragrance that works, and it does increase the versatility because you can wear it during spring, during fall, even at times during summer if you wanted to, because it's just not too heavy, not too in your face. And that gives it that versatility. All right, last but not least, we've got Cafe Huey Long, which I like that name, that's pretty cool. I don't know why, I just imagine that there's some cafe out there named Huey Long, and that is interesting to me. I have no clue why. But they say, I know it got a lot of hate, but YSL Y Elixir has been a 4-season day or night gem for me. Yes, it did get a lot of hate, including from myself. Big reason, at least for me, was the price point. $180 for a 2-ounce size bottle. And when it was announced, it was like, this is the highest end Y fragrance. We've got natural oud in there. The quality is gonna be out of control. And so the expectation was they were gonna do something, maybe not necessarily pushing the boundaries of fragrance or anything, but something a little bit different, you know? And then it came out and it was like, oh, okay. It's pretty close to some of the other Y fragrances. You don't really smell too much oud in there, but to be fair, I guess if you have a blue fragrance, you probably don't want a huge amount of oud, but still, you can get like a teensy little bit of that oudy woodiness in here. It's just not super noticeable or anything. And yeah, the price, 180 bucks, 2 ounces. And they give you the turdiest atomizer ever on a Y fragrance. I know from the camera, maybe it looks okay, but it is noticeably worse when you spray it. Is that a big deal? No, not really, but you know. 200 bucks, come on, dog. Now, all of that being said, if you remove the price point from the equation, it smells good. If you like the Y line of fragrances, you will probably enjoy the way it smells. I like the way it smells. I just don't think it's worth 180 bucks. Both those things can be true at the same time. Because for me, I'd probably go Y Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, Y Live, Y Lip Parfum before this one, because I think they're a better bang for the buck and, you know, maybe even smell a little bit nicer to my own personal taste. But again, price, don't even think about it. It smells really pleasant. I'm a fan of the Y line. I like the way it smells. It is versatile. It is a compliment puller, like pretty much all the Y fragrances are. And can you wear that all year, day or night? Oh yeah, you can. Absolutely, easily. And look, just because I say that for my taste, I would rather wear Y Live, Y Eau de Parfum, whatever, that doesn't mean it's gonna be like that for everybody. There are gonna be tons of people out there that smell this one and go, oh, that is the best one to me, and it is worth the elevated price. And that one is available at discounters now, so you can get it for less. It's not always 180 now. Fragrance Buy, for example, has it for like 120, JOMASHOP for like 140. So depending on where you like to shop, you can get it for 33% off, which is pretty good savings. And if this were retail for that price, you know, 140, we'll say 140 at 60 mils, I probably would have had a different reaction. And if the price was 120, that's pretty nice, not too bad. So Y Elixir, the last fragrance in this list from you guys, and there is your lineup. Nice. I want to thank everybody that submitted their answers, and thanks to everyone that upvoted other people's answers. If you want to be in a future video, like I said, go ahead and check out that community tab. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.